Hi, it's Sandy Wyllie. Welcome to my mental health channel, Inside My Holes, where I wipe away the stigma of mental illness by talking about my own personal struggles, having borderline personality disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety and panic attacks, depression. I talk about my narcissistic mother who used to beat me as a child, my schizophrenic father who was in and out of mental institutes, my unethical psychologist who sexually exploited me and raped me, all the therapies I've been in over the years, and a plethora of every other mental health topic out there, practically. But I only come on as a former patient of almost 20 years. I am not a licensed therapist. I do not hold a degree in psychology, so I cannot diagnose you or give you a professional opinion. All I ask in return of you is your kindness and respect in the comments. Please be kind and respectful to me and other people who comment. We don't need to agree on everything, but we do need to always show respect and kindness. Now, if you are new to my channel, welcome. Please hit that little box in the right hand corner there that says subscribe. That way you'll be notified every time a new video of mine is out. It's 100% free, so stick around, take a chance, share if you like it, and hit that like button. This always helps me grow my channel. Today I'm going to talk about surviving friendship breakups, how to recover from outgrowing friends. Okay? Now, I'm sure most of us, I don't want to say everybody, I don't want to, because there might be a few people in the minority who've never outgrown or had friends outgrow them. But for the rest of us, most people have outgrown a friend. Think about when you were young, when you were very, very little, and you made friends in grade school. All right. Have you kept every one of those friends that you made in grade school or high school? Some of you have, but then other people might have outgrown them. This is why I wanted to do this video, because this has happened to me. It's happened to my husband. It's happened to my son over and over again in life, that we form fast in friendships that had their time, a friend for a season, but then one or the other person outgrew, and so they diverged, that our paths diverged. And I'm going to talk a little bit about how friendships first outgrow each other, and then I'll talk about my own personal experiences, how friends outgrew me, or I outgrew them. Now, one of the reasons friendships outgrow each other is that the values change. Okay, you can have the same exact values when you meet and you stop becoming friends, but then your values can change completely. Like do a 180, and this was true of my friendship with Holly. Our values were the same. We were both virgins when we met our husbands. We never really dated, and then she was going through a period of a rift in her marriage, and she started sleeping around with, she'd just meet a guy and she'd sleep with him. And, she slept with some pretty horrible people. One was a murderer. She told me this. I'm not kidding. He was in jail for murder. I don't know the whole story about it, but so this did not align with me. I'm not a perfect person. I'm not trying to come on here and be holier than thou. Everyone knows, if you watch my videos, that I cheated on my husband. I stole. I'm an alcoholic. I did pornography. I'm not coming on here holier than thou. That's not what I'm trying to say. But I could not relate to her anymore because I couldn't relate to this, behavior. I even told her to her face, Holly, you turn into a hoe. Holly ho. Holly ho! And she even said, you're one of the first friends who've told that to me. So, I told it to her face. So I'm telling you, I'm not saying things behind someone's back. I have told her this to her face. And meanwhile, I was, just like our paths were, we were both unhappily married women. We married the first guy we ever had sex with. And then, we both had handicapped children. We had a lot in common. But then she started down this path of, I don't want to be derogatory, but, going out with complete strangers and hopping into bed with them. And I was not aligned to that. I was not aligned to that because it was just like... So, one of my sons, he had a good friend, and that friend became a minister, and all he talked about was religion. And he tried to rope my son into, religion, and my son's an atheist. And so that friendship, he outgrew that friend, because another friend he outgrew, they met when they were in martial arts as youngsters, 6 or 7, really young kids. And so they were little kids back then. But then through the years, as they got older, my son, is going for his master's degree. That friend didn't even go to college, doesn't even work. He stays home and plays video games all day. So, of course, my son outgrew that friendship because that friend never grew up. That friend stayed, mentally at the level of the person my son met. They both met at 6 or 7. That kid, that man, well, he's a man now, stayed at that emotional level at 6 or 7, and my son matured extremely, very much, and is working full-time, going for his master's full-time, and just there was nothing in common, you know what I mean? So, different values. My son valued education, planning for a future, getting a good job, saving money so he could buy a house, etc. And that friend from martial arts didn't want to do anything with his future. He just lived with his parents and stayed home all day playing video games. So the values don't match anymore. Another thing is no longer have a common goal or interest. Like I said, if one in that situation, my son was career focused, planning his future, his life. So there was no, and also my son stopped martial arts because he had to go to college. I don't know what the other guy did, but see, they didn't have any same interests. Same with me and Holly, there was no same interests anymore. She was, on the Tinder app, dating one guy after another, and I was still married and, a wife, a stay-at-home mother, and it just... Another thing is you no longer feel supported by the friend. That's how you can outgrow them. They no longer support you. You could say that was true with Holly. I no longer supported her lifestyle. Let's see, my friendship with Janice. I no longer, when I was friends with Janice, we'd meet up and we'd hit the bar during during the work days, the weekdays, we'd go out and have a couple of cocktails. And, I never, um, I supported Janice because she was going through a lot of health issues. And so I was there for her when she had to have her bladder removed because she had a huge tumor in her bladder. So she had to wear a bag that carried all her urine. I felt really sorry for her, and I think that's what spurred the friendship, my pity for her, because she relied on me. We reconnected at a high school reunion, and I felt great pity and sadness, and she asked for my number and started calling me and bawled on the phone and cried. But then after years and years of listening to her problems, and heavy drinking at the bar with her, it's like I no longer supported that lifestyle. I didn't want to go to bars. I didn't want to drink. I mean, I still drink a couple of glasses of wine every night. I'm not going to deny it. I drink 2 glasses of wine every night. But I didn't want to support that lifestyle. I didn't want to keep supporting her emotionally, too. Be the crutch that she needed, After doing this for years and years and years, I felt drained, because she'd only call me to, I knew she had a lot of health problems, but I could no longer support her in her struggles with her health because it was draining me. So that's the truth with that friendship. Another thing is you might feel that the friendship has become an obligation, and that is so true with my friends. With Holly, I stayed in that friendship because much longer than I should have. I stayed in it for 12 years. Why I stayed in it is because I felt obligated toward my son, Austin, because Austin was good friends with her son, Michael. And, they were young kids. They didn't drive. The only way they could see each other is through me and Holly getting together, that our kids could get together. So I felt like, my son loved Michael. He loved going over to Michael's house. He loved playing with Michael. He loved when Michael came up. He loved when we all did things together. He considered Michael and Holly his family. He said, oh, they're my second family. So, I knew that if I ended the friendship, that, her son and my son would no longer see each other. So it was, and this is the honest to God truth, it was out of that obligation to my son that I stayed much longer in the friendship with Holly. All right, so, this happens over and over again about outgrowing friendships. Nancy, we were in grade school. Nancy lived a few houses up the street, less than a 2-minute walk. A few houses, maybe 4 or 5 houses. Our mothers started talking, because they're neighbors in the neighborhood, in a busy city street, It wasn't like out in the country where the houses are far, far apart. This is out in the middle, in the city of Boston, where the houses are on top of each other. So her mother and my mother got to talk, and they both found out they had daughters the same age, and voila, me and Nancy were introduced. We were best friends. We saw each other every single day. I would think I was like, I was 10 and she was 9, something like that, preteens. Maybe before we were teenagers, like 10, 11, 12, like that age. Then after we see each other every day, either I eat up her house for dinner or she eat down my house for dinner. And if we didn't eat at each other's houses for dinner, we'd see each other after dinner, after we spent the whole day together. So we practically lived, when didn't we see each other? And, she was very nice. We played dolls. We had so much in common. We're little girls, we like to play dolls. We like to dress up. And then as we got older and she became a teenager, she wanted to go out clubbing, into dances, and she was interested in boys. Meanwhile, I never was interested in boys. I like older men, much older men. And I didn't like clubs, and I didn't like dances. So she got to be friends with other girls who like to go to parties, like to go to clubs, like to go to dances. She invited me to go to this dance. It was a school dance. It wasn't at the school. It was at some sort of oh, I don't know, like a community center or something. I can't remember. It was at a community center. It was a boy and girl dance, and I think we were like 13 or 14, something like that. And of course, she gets asked to dance because back then Nancy was very thin and I was very chunky. Now I'm very thin and Nancy is not so thin. But anyway, she was very pretty. I was very chunky, on the verge of fat. Pimples all over my face. Nancy was very thin, beautiful, long, brunette, chestnut brown hair, big doe eyes, clear complexion. All the boys asked her to dance. I was fat, ugly, zits, shy. Nancy was bubbly and outgoing, so I just sat there like I was a wallflower. I didn't enjoy the dance. I didn't, so she was growing up and being interested in boys, and I wasn't interested in pursuing those dances or pursuing boys my age or going to those clubs. And so she became friends with other girls who did, and then I went to high school because I was a year older and met other girls my own age. Maria was a girl at high school. Maria was painfully shy. She was very overweight when I met her, and this was my freshman year of high school. She outgrew me too. Nancy outgrew me, and Maria outgrew me. How'd she outgrow me? Well, freshman year, this is a brand new school, right? It's high school. And she was overweight, extremely shy, we didn't know anyone. And I befriended her, along with a couple of other girls, too. And we were friends. She was a bridesmaid at my wedding, though she came late and held everyone up because she worked the night before. She lost a lot of weight. She became more confident in herself. She took a job. She got her license. She bought a car, Mustang. So she wasn't that shy, chubby girl that I met in freshman year. By the time we graduated, Maria was thin, confident. She had a job. She had a car, a Mustang. I've been in it. And so, to me, she just wasn't interested in me anymore, She made friends at work, where she worked, where she had more in common with those girls. Than with me. I was still living at home with my parents. I didn't have a car. It was, after she went to my wedding and was my bridesmaid, I heard from her one more time. She told me her cat had a litter and would I like to have a free kitten. And I said, sure, I'd love a free kitten. She came to my house, dropped off the kitten, and left. Never saw her again. That's the truth. I did try to contact her, but... So you see how, it wasn't like any of these girls did anything wrong, or that I did anything wrong. It's just that these relationships outgrew each other. But just the same, it hurts when friendships end. It hurts no matter how they end. But sometimes, when you outgrow someone, I felt like, so isolated in it because, like, I couldn't keep up with that person any longer. I couldn't, I lost the friend that I knew even before the friendship ended. And this happens in marriages too, in other relationships. Like, I lost the person I was friends with before they ever physically left, Like with Maria, I lost that shy, chubby Italian girl. We're both Italian. I used to walk to her house on the way home from school, on half days, and she used to make me spaghetti for lunch. Her mother her mother was Italian. You make a big pasta sauce, with all the meats, the pork chops, the sausages, the braciolis, the meatballs, and it was so delicious with all that meat in it. And she would take she'd boil the spaghetti and put the homemade sauce on, and we eat it. And, I just miss, those times with her when we were in high school. So I lost that, those memories. I lost that closeness. And same with Holly, when she started dating everyone and going off. I lost that mommy friend. That happens when you're friends with someone married with children, and then one of you divorces and then becomes single again. It's like, oh, I lost my mommy friend. We don't make play dates anymore. Or one of you goes off to work. Say one of you doesn't get married or have children. One of you you met in college. Now one of you is married with young children, a stay-at-home mom. The other one is a complete career woman climbing the corporate ladder. And it's like, it's hard to talk about drooling kids and, changing diapers, and screaming tantrums with your best friend because she's talking about, corporate meetings and, the fiscal calendar and, everything like that. And you're talking at opposite ends. It's like, oh, I miss you so much. I miss what we had, but that part is over, and you kind of like, you're not on the same path. You're going in separate directions. You were walking together, and then a fork came in the road. You decided to go left, and your friend decided to go right, and neither of the two shall meet in between. And this is what happens. So how do we get over the heartbreak of those situations? I mean, I've seen my son was heartbroken with one of his friends that outgrew him when he moved to Westwood. He moved to Westwood. They both lived in Rosendale in the city, and then this friend moved to Westwood in a very ritzy, upscale neighborhood in Westwood, and met other older boys. He moved into a bigger house, a much bigger house, a bigger lifestyle. They had like a movie room with a big screen TV, and like in the movies, like they moved up in the world. So when one person moves up in the world and the other person doesn't, that's another riff right there. They meet other friends who, more money, and they do more things that are different from the friends in the city that don't have the money, and riff. You can be heartbroken over it, I'm sure I've hurt friends because I outgrew them, and friends have hurt me because they outgrew me. And but you still, at the end of the day, you got to be honest with yourself. You've got to be true to yourself. I had to be true to who I was, where I am in my corner of the world, in my little chunk of the world. I have to be true to me. If it feels like an obligation to be with them, or it feels like, I'm just holding on because of the past. So many people hold on to relationships because of their past. Oh my God, well, we had 12 years. We can't let go of 12 years. They do in marriages too. I've been married 25 years. I can't let go of that. We have so much history, together, that they're staying in the relationship under an obligation just because of their history, when they have nothing in the present moment to hold them together. They're just staying together because of their history. And then, how long can you do that for? You're not happy. It's not the same person. You can't change them back. They can't change you back to the way you were when you first met and became friends. So the way I dealt with that kind of heartache is, just I developed new interests. I became like a new person. I pursued my own goals, my own interests that were separate from them. I started writing. I started publishing my writing. I started doing videos that keep me very busy every day. So I started pursuing, I traveled a lot, my own goals and my own interests, and, went on that path that I wanted for myself, and had to leave them to go on the path that they want.